Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Military Mayday. We're pointing out some pieces on the chessboard. Got a couple of stories here for you today. We got one with the Belarusian military doctrine updated for nuclear weapons. This is an important little story. I'm going to hit and miss through this one. It's a longer story, but there's some important details in here. It's the first time they've updated or drafted it. A document like this. They updated something in 2016. There's some wild statements by Lukashenko that I want to get down, you guys to listen to. Are they hardening up? Is it for defense? Is it for offense? We're going to hit this other story. This is going to be the top NATO military officer urges allies and leaders to plan for the unexpected in Ukraine. He doesn't really urge them. I mean, he's kind of predicts scenarios and almost expects them to plan for the unexpected in Ukraine. And he's obviously referring to Russia. Where I've read some stories and got some videos up of Russia's just not really interested. But again, with Belarus hardening up, I mean, wouldn't you, if you had NATO just, stockpiling missiles and weapons on your border? Yeah, that's exactly what you would do. You would want some defense too, to say, hey, back off. Before we get into them, though, I want you to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. There's other people that's going to want to hear this, freaks like us. Okay, let's get to it here. The Belarusian. Oh yeah, I wanted to thank the new subscribers that I got and my old subscribers. I want to thank everybody. I think we hit 60 so far, so that's not bad, guys. Appreciate it. Let's get into it here. The Belarusian government has drafted a new military doctrine that, for the first time, accounts for the usage of nuclear weapons. The new doctrine will reflect the rapid change in Belarusian strategic thinking in recent years that has seen Minsk push and ally Moscow for the development of those weapons on soil. Belarus last updated its doctrine in 2016 for the risk of hybrid war and citing examples of Syria and Ukraine. In the time since, relations between Minsk and the West, while never harmed, declined precipitously. I know what that word is. Beginning first with Belarus crackdown on domestic protests in 2020 and later with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Simultaneously, U.S. Russian arms control agreements that have been unwound, raising the specter of nuclear war. 2022, 3 days after Russia began its military operation, Belarusians went to the polls, voted in a new constitution would approve stationing of nuclear weapons on the Belarusian soil. 2023, Russia began delivering nuclear warheads to Belarus, reversing the decision made in the 1990s to remove nuclear weapons from the country. Yeah, they just said they voted on it. At independence, Belarus inherited a small nuclear arsenal from the Soviet Union consisting of several dozen RTP-2PM Topol intercontinental ballistic missiles carrying a range of 12,500 kilometers, as well as tactical nuclear weapons of unknown types. Through Minsk eventually followed through with returning to Russia. A report published in 1996 highlighted Washington's concern for President Lukashenko. 2 decades later, nuclear weapons have returned to Belarus, which pushed for the deployment of weapons against the backdrop of a rapidly declining security environment in Eastern Europe. Rapidly declining. A UN meeting. Let's bounce down here. Nuclear deterrent will not be fully independent, needing Russian permission to launch and thus falling under Moscow's usage doctrine. But nevertheless, the Belarusian doctrine should clarify the conditions in which Minsk sees a security threat rising to the level of nuclear weapon usage. Lukashenko separately told Betty, yes, nuclear weapons represent a strong deterring factor, but these are tactical nuclear weapons, not strategic ones. This is why we will use them immediately once aggression is launched against us. Like I said, there's some more too. Russian President Putin has moreover suggested that Belarus Air Force Su-25s could be modified to act as carriers. Let's see here. Moscow still retains control of the nuclear weapons, but having them on his soil has put some swagger in Lukashenko's step. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko boasted to the Russian state media in an interview last June that no one has so far fought against a a country that has nuclear weapons. He said, "Is another. It's very simple. Join the Union State of Belarus and Russia. That's all. There will be nuclear weapons for everyone." Now, think about that. Join the nuclear state of Russia and Belarus, and there's nukes for everybody. Now, think about the Arab countries that are going to hear this shit. I mean, really. You know? I mean, you have to think about that. But, yeah, anyway, I kind of caught that. Thought, wow. Okay, top NATO military officer urges allies and leaders to plan for the unexpected in Ukraine. Yeah, it's again, we want to hear these statements. Ukraine is locked into the existential battle for its survival almost 2 years into its war with Russia and Western armies, and political leaders must drastically change the way they help it fend off invading forces, a top NATO military officer said. Um, the war bogs down with the U.S. We need public and private actors to change their mindset in an era in which everything was plannable, foreseeable, controllable, and focused on efficiency, in an era in which everything can happen at any time, an era in which we need to expect the unexpected. In order to fully be effective also in the future, we need a war-fighting transformation of NATO. Okay, let's see, where's this other one? Today is the 693rd day of Russia, thought to be a 3-day war. Ukraine will have our support for every day that is to come, because of the outcome of this war will determine the fate of the world. The war has never been about any real security threat to Russia coming from either Ukraine or NATO, Bauer said. The war is about Russia fearing something much more powerful than any physical weapon on earth: democracy. If the people in Ukraine can have a democratic rights, then people in Russia will soon crave them too. Now, most of the people in Russia, I think, do have democratic rights, and they do vote. And it looked like it was Ukraine that might have had some stuff going on, some maybe a decade back, come to their voting system. And to sit there, it's almost like they're saying that Ukraine doesn't have democracy, and so neither does Russia. But and maybe Ukraine don't have democracy because of some of the people they're forcing into fighting over there. I don't know. I thought that was kind of a wild statement. It just something about it. And again, he's just totally pushing that Russia's going to do something with no examples. And most that I know is Russia hasn't made any threats to too many unless they attack them first. Seems to be what I hear. But anyway, like and subscribe. Toodaloo.